Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today. I was definitely wrong about something, and I'm gonna tell you all about it. Right? Yeah, you're not used to hearing me say that too often. Yeah, but but anyway, if you're here on YouTube and you haven't already, you know what time it is. Go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell. If you want the audio only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, search the Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you enjoy the content, give us that thumbs up, that like, that thumbs up and that like and that 5-star review. We appreciate that because you know what happens when you do these things. It helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Let's get right to it. All right. So the NBA finals they're in high gear. We're going into game 4 tonight. 2-1 series lead right now for the Denver Nuggets. We're seeing some history take place in terms of what Nikola Jokic is doing and his partner in crime, Jamal Murray. Incredible what these guys are doing, but Miami is hanging in there. They did not come to roll over, and that Heat culture is not going to let them do that. Pat Riley's too tough. He's instilled that culture, so is Eric Spoelstra, and they got a bunch of never say die guys, and that's cool. But anyway, kind of more what I wanted to talk about is I came across some surprising information, right? So if you remember, maybe last week or the week before, I was talking about what the NBA would want for the NBA finals, right? Because as much as the game is about competition and crowning the best team, at the same time, it's a business, right? You want to add revenue, you want the eyeballs on you, you want these TV partners to value airing your games, right? And how do you do that? By having the most popular teams or the players that are going to generate the most attention. And one of the things that I thought the NBA would want to see, of course, would have been the Celtics and the Lakers. Why? Because both teams they are arguably the two greatest historical franchises in the NBA's history. They are tied at 17 championships apiece, which again, I'm sorry, I'm not giving the Lakers 17 championships at very least. I'm not doing it. I'm not counting the Minneapolis championships. And why am I not counting them, you ask? Because the Atlanta Hawks don't get credit for the St. Louis Hawks championship. So why should the Lakers get credit for theirs in Minneapolis? But anyway, I digress. So even still, if you count it that way, the Lakers and the Celtics are tied both at 17, and it's a race to 18 for the two greatest franchises in NBA history. And of course, that is the league's #1 rivalry, right? Of course, Wilt and Bill Russell and Jerry West and Bill Russell and those guys, and then Magic and Bird and so on and so forth. And then on a lower level, but Paul Pierce and Kobe Bryant. So you look at the Lakers and Celtics, and that moves the needle, obviously. Even still, you say maybe the Celtics and the Nuggets. The Nuggets are a team that, as good as they are, don't have a lot of star power. The Miami Heat, as good as they are, don't have star power. They're number 8 seed, the first number 8 seed in a regulation length season to actually make the NBA Finals. We've heard ad nauseum about all the undrafted players. I think there's 7 undrafted players on the roster. I think I want to say 3 or 4 undrafted starters on that team. So we hear about it all the time. So this matchup in of itself isn't sexy, right? And so, coming in, we thought we probably would get some really good basketball, but even at the same time, with the great basketball, it wouldn't necessarily be something that fans are clamoring to tune in to watch. And so just looking at the stats from this series so far, the NBA Finals 2023 ratings going into Game 4 are down 3% in Game 3 from last year's Warriors Celtics, and I want to say 2% overall, I believe. And so here's the thing, right? That's actually not terrible. That's not terrible at all, especially, again, from two teams that really are lacking in star power or lacking in drama, just two well-coached, outstanding basketball teams. So if you love basketball, like really good basketball, and you're not looking for storylines and you're not looking for drama or you're not looking for superstars, well, this is what you're getting, right? You're not getting super teams here. You're not getting dynasties here. This Miami Heat team is not even the same one that went to the finals in the bubble. This Denver Nuggets team, the Nuggets, this is the first time they've ever been to the NBA finals. I believe last time they were in the finals was 1976 in the ABA finals when they were same Denver Nuggets, and Dan Issel was leading them. He was a heck of a player, by the way. He was leading them, and they lost, I believe, to I want to say the New York Nets with Dr. J, Julius Erving himself, before he came over to the NBA. But anyway, it's just interesting to look and see that, despite the fact that a lot of us thought that the ratings would be down, and they are, but it's not terrible. It's a 2% loss in viewership in game 3. And so I saw a tweet here, and I'm gonna put it up on the screen for you. Nuggets versus Heat NBA Finals continues to post better than expected TV ratings. So I mean, overall, this is just this is not bad, and it's a pleasant surprise. And it's a pleasant surprise for a few reasons. One of the big reasons for me was I look back, and I'm old enough to remember what happened to the NBA when Michael Jordan stepped away for those 2 years. When the Houston Rockets won back-to-back championships, and then when he retired finally, I want to say in 2003 for good after finishing out his career with the Wizards. And the NBA really, in both cases, they took a big hit because they lost arguably the greatest star in the history of the game, right? Obviously, Magic Johnson was already done by that time. Larry Bird was done. So those two guys were done. And Michael Jordan, I'm not saying he was carrying it all by himself, but we know he was the main flag bearer for the NBA. And once he was gone, when he stepped away, like I said, during that hiatus for 2 years, and then when he retired for good in 2003, the NBA really took a hit. And one thing I've always said was they took that hit because they did a poor job preparing to market their next generation of stars, right? Because you can't assume that a guy like Michael Jordan or even LeBron James is going to last forever, right? You had Kobe and you had LeBron. Both of these guys played 20 years, and LeBron probably's got a couple of years left. But even still, he has to step away from the game at some point. So what do? You have to do a better job of developing and marketing your next crop of stars so that when a LeBron and a Steph Curry step away, that the league doesn't just fall into, years of disrepair again until the next mercurial type talent really steps up. So it's good to see this because it bodes well for the future of the NBA after those guys, your LeBron, your Steph Curry, whoever, finally retires and steps off into the sunset as players, because they can't, like we said, they can't play forever. So it's really good to see that this series is getting some well-warranted attention. And the other thing is, this says that the NBA, the league that markets their stars more than any other, well, maybe international soccer, but we're not talking about that here in America for the most part. Quick note, man, Lionel Messi to Inter Miami, that's going to be huge. Who knows what that's going to do for soccer in America? Although, and I know I'm digressing, I really believe that the only way soccer is going to truly become one of the main sports in America is if the United States international team manages to win a World Cup, the men's team. If they can do that, then you will see a true difference. But anyway, back to the NBA. So even though you have Jokic, who's one of the best players in the world, some are arguing now he is the best player in the world. You have Jamal Murray. These guys aren't superstars in terms of personality. They're not guys that you can really market for the most part because they don't have the superstar personality. They got superstar game, but they don't have superstar personality. Jimmy Butler, again, he's another one, doesn't have superstar personality, but he has superstar game, at least in the playoffs. So these aren't guys, even though you see Jimmy Butler in some national ad campaigns, for the most part, these aren't guys that you can really market. And then, of course, we talk ad nauseum about all the undrafted guys that are on Miami's roster. Bam Adebayo, another guy who most people think is really good. I think he's kind of overrated, but again, another story. Most people think he's really good, but he's not a big guy that you can market and have him up there as a top tier guy to carry the league. So the point is, with these finals doing better than people think, it says that maybe there's a lot more basketball purists out there than we thought. A lot of people who just want to see basketball and don't care about awards and don't care about storylines or anything like that. And that is good for the NBA. So what they need to do is capitalize on this, and they need to look into it, study it, and continue to push that. Get back a little bit. We know the NBA has always been a star-driven league, but get back a little bit to maybe what has made the NFL so successful, and that's pushing team, and that's pushing the sport. Now, we don't know if the NBA is built like that. We don't know if Adam Silver has any interest in doing that, but it seems to work. So, just my 2 cents. So my question for you is, are you surprised to hear that the NBA's finals ratings are still very good, despite the fact that there's a lack of superstars, super teams, or big market teams playing? Why don't you give me your thoughts? Leave those in the comments section. Can't wait to read them. Can't wait to get back to you. And I'll be back with you next episode. And I'm out. Peace.